Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jason Sari. I'm a financial advisor with the Premier Client Group. On the side, I run this YouTube page and a Facebook group just to help foster financial education in anybody I can reach. But let's get into the video today on why trusts are not just for rich people. Beforehand, though, guys, everything in this video is solely educational information. Nothing should be taken as advice before contacting a legal, tax, or investment representative. So, before you get into why a trust is not just for a rich person, you need to know what a trust is. Now, a trust basically is a vessel that holds assets for the benefit of a beneficiary. Now, a beneficiary can be anybody. It could be a spouse, it could be a kid, it could be a friend, it could be a grandparent, it could be really anybody that you want. If you have an IRA or a 401k, you know you've had to designate a beneficiary for those accounts. But what happens when you can't designate a beneficiary, like a brokerage account, a house, a cryptocurrency wallet? What do you do to make sure that it gets to your heirs? Well, I'm sure you guys have heard of a will before, and a will is great. I'm not saying it's not. But the problem with the will is that even if you designate something to somebody in a will, it still has to go through the probate process. For those of you that don't know what the probate process is, the probate process is the legal distribution of assets after you pass away. So with a will, it has to go through the courts for where your assets end up. While if you have a beneficiary, it goes straight to that beneficiary. The courts really don't decide. Now, with a will, you can also elect against a will too. If someone feels slighted that they didn't get a certain portion of your estate, or a spouse or a kid, whatever it might be, is unhappy with what they received, they can elect against a will. But if there's a beneficiary in a trust with a 401k, with an IRA, they do not get to elect against that. It goes straight to the beneficiary no matter what. Being able to elect against a will is just one of the problems with the probate process and a will. Probate also averages 6 to 9 months and is expensive. So if you pass away, your heirs might have to deal with the legal system for 6 to 9 months just to figure it out. Sometimes it can last over a year. So it is very difficult to make it through the probate process. And then at the same time, everything is exposed. The whole entire world knows what assets you have, who's getting them, just because it is going through the legal process. So this directly translates into why a trust is not just for a rich person. When you think of a trust, you might think of trust fund babies. You might think of people who are getting paid out income for years and years. Husband who passed away left everything to his wife in a trust, and she's getting paid out. She owns everything through a trust. And a lot of the time, that might be true. There are trusts like that set up to produce income for the long term for generations to come. But there are also trusts just to make sure your assets go exactly where you want them to when you pass away. As far as trusts go, there are two main classifications, a revocable and an irrevocable trust. For the purpose of this video, we'll be talking about a revocable trust, which is also sometimes referred to as a living trust. An irrevocable trust is mostly for estate tax purposes, and that is a trust that is primarily used by the rich. Because if you have less than $13.9 million, you really don't have to deal with estate tax. But for the purpose of this video, we will be going over a revocable or a living trust. So the purpose of a living trust is to distribute assets with no beneficiary to a beneficiary. So once you put the assets in a trust, they go to the designated beneficiary or beneficiaries that you have set up. The beneficiary could be one person, or it could be multiple people, or you could have contingencies where it goes to one person, then different people after they pass away. So there are many different options as far as setting up trusts go, and there is probably going to be one that fits exactly what your needs are. Assets with no beneficiaries that might do better in a trust are brokerage accounts, individual bonds, stocks that you have somewhere else, cryptocurrency wallets, any real estate whatsoever, condos, primary residencies, anything that does not have a beneficiary, an LLC, a small business, something that you have a specific person you want to go when you pass away and you're worried about somebody else electing against a will, just label it with a beneficiary by putting it into a trust. Another great thing about a trust is that you can change a trust as many times as you'd like in your lifetime. There is no limit to how many times you can change a trust, just like a will. Yes, there might be a little bit of a cost associated with it, but if you do need to change a trust, just like if you do need to change a will, you can. You could change the beneficiary. You could take assets out. You could put assets in. It doesn't matter. You can change a trust as many times as you would like. Now, another interesting thing about a trust is the trustee. So there are three main parts of a trust: the grantor, the person who creates a trust; the trustee, the person who holds the legal title of the trust; and then the beneficiary, the one who holds the equitable title of a trust. Now, a trustee is a fiduciary for the beneficiary. So they are managing the trust to the benefit of the beneficiary. However, if you have certain provisions in a trust, if you don't want a spendthrift, grandchild, kid, spouse, whatever it might be, to blow all your assets the second the trust goes to them, you can assign certain provisions and have a trustee monitor it to make sure that the trust is not taken advantage of. So right off the bat with the trust, your assets go exactly where you want them to because you have a beneficiary. Your assets are taken care of if you have a trustee, and overall it just makes life easier for your heirs, avoiding the annoying and costly probate process. You don't need to be a billionaire to want your family, your heirs, your friends, whoever it is to be taken care of. So trusts are not a bad thing to look into. There is a negative connotation with them having trusts on babies. The ultra wealthy always said AM trust, but it's because they're smart. It's not because they have too much money. You can set up a trust with just a home. You can set up a trust with just a brokerage account. Trusts are so versatile, and there are so many different trusts. There are trusts for special needs that can qualify your child to still receive disability benefits, but also have assets in a trust to help them out with other obstacles in life. There are trusts for kids. There are trusts for wives. There are trusts for every single instance you could possibly think of. It's very unintelligent to not look into a trust to at least see if there is one that is going to benefit you. Now, guys, you can get into the weeds on trust forever. There are so many different types of trust. If you have a specific trust that you would like me to make a video about, feel free to drop a comment and I'll do my best to make a video on whatever trust it might be. Otherwise, guys, if you have any questions about personal financial planning, estate planning, retirement planning, insurance planning, tax planning, pretty much any single possible aspect about personal finance there is, subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, and again, drop a comment if you'd like to see anything else. And of course, check out the Facebook group Financial Education for Retirement. It's a group with certified financial planners as group members, willing to answer questions at any time of the day you might have. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys later.